Hello and welcome to another episode of the SixStar podcast with me, Dark Viper AU, and TGG, my lovely co-host. And we are here to talk about all the latest stuff in the Rockstar verse, the GTA, Red Dead, Mindseye universe.
Mindseye. Now,
a key component.
You probably thought that the podcast was dead. No.
Oh.
As Strauss Zelnick said a while ago, we are just increasing the demand by releasing podcasts less frequently.
Of course.
Okay? So we're going to start ramping it up to where it's like GTA, where there's about 12 years between podcast episodes. So it's been a month. The next one might be in about 3 months, then maybe 6 months, and then we'll go yearly.
Just to be clear, this podcast is meant to be every 2 weeks, but I caused problems. I've delayed this podcast like 7 times. TG every day in my DMs like, when are we doing the podcast, man?
Please, bro. Episode 6, they're waiting, dude.
Yeah, I've just been... I traveled internationally, went to like a DreamHack and TwitchCon, and then I got sick for a week, and it's just been brutal. There's a lot to talk about, though, because it's been over a month since the last episode.
You know, we are probably the most consistent GTA 6 podcast out there, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
If you ignore all the other ones, how dare you travel the world?
I'm sorry.
And not think about our lovely viewers that are waiting for us to talk about GTA 6.
I know they won't forgive me, but I'll work towards being deserving of their forgiveness one day. And I am still a bit sick now. And even TG is also now getting sick.
You know what made me sick, Matt?
What's that?
The first topic that we're going to talk about today, Mindseye.
Yes, of course. A very sickening topic indeed.
It is.
So I will try and read the totality of everything that happened up to the release of Mindseye. But what is Mindseye? Mindseye is a narrative-driven, single-player action-adventure thriller game set in the near-future fictional desert city of Red Rock, and it had a very controversial release on the 11th of June, 2025. What's the date now? That was 5 days ago, right? It feels like an eternity. The entirety of social media was just talking about Mindseye for very poor reasons.
Yeah, so there were more people really watching content at one point. You had a few thousand viewers. I had a few thousand viewers. I had, I think, 2,000 or 3,000 viewers at the peak when I was playing Mindseye, and its player count actually peaked at about 3,000 on Steam. So there were more people watching us play Mindseye than actually playing it themselves, which there's a lot about the state of the game.
Exactly. And this game, of course, was on our radar, and why we were always going to play it was because it was made by Leslie Benzies, who was a former Rockstar president and lead developer, which made it very surprising that the launch was so bad for this game. I don't know the exact story as to how Leslie Benzies got outed at Rockstar, but it was weird, right? Do you know the whole story?
So in roughly, what was it, around 2015 to 2017, somewhere around there, he actually got fired from Rockstar. So he didn't quit, like a lot of people have said, or like you may have heard online. He actually not only got fired from Rockstar, he got locked out of the studios at Rockstar North. And he was the former lead of Rockstar North, right? So for him to get fired and locked out, that probably says a lot about him. But as for his studio, Build a Rocket Boy, when he got locked out and fired from Rockstar, it wasn't, as you could probably tell, it wasn't a nice separation there. They told him, get out of here, go build a rocket, boy. So that's what he named his studio. And he couldn't build a rocket. In fact, he could barely build a video game.
Yeah, apparently. But of course, he was still involved with, everything from GTA 3 to GTA 5. So even though I knew that he'd been outed in this weird way, locked out of the building, I was like, how the game has to be good and worth looking at, right? But prior to release, a couple of trailers were released for the game, and they didn't look very good to me. They didn't look like they were terrible. But in previous episodes of the SixStar podcast, I mentioned I wasn't blown away, but I didn't think it was going to be a flop as terrible as it turned out being. You were more hopeful, actually. Not that I'm saying you were hyping it up or something, but you were more hopeful it was going to be something.
Hopeful, I guess, but like you, there was nothing there that really stood out. There was nothing there that ever explained to the viewer what this game was ever going to do better than its competitors.
I always thought it was just going to be generic. Average game, 6 to 7 out of 10. but
yeah, it didn't quite get there.
no. So
didn't get close.
Even worse, there were no review copies provided to the media before the release of the game, and there were posts found from workers who were talking about how bad it was working at this company and on the game, and that the game wasn't ready for release, but it was going to be releasing anyway. And even more than this, 2 studio executives left before the game released. All this is
in the weeks leading up to it, like right before.
If anyone
the
thought it was going to be good,
biggest moment ever,
yeah,
and they quit right before it. Yeah.
So obviously we still want it to be good though, because it was Leslie Benzies from Rockstar. How could it be bad? Yeah. But word was, of course, getting out that the game was in a bad state prior to launch. What was surprising, though, is that as people communicated this, that it was not doing well, the co-CEO came out and said that anyone speaking badly about the game was being paid by Rockstar Games to do so. Or at least he suggested that. He didn't say explicitly Rockstar Games, but he was like, you know who's doing this. You know who's paying all these people to call out game shit. Which is just insane to think about, especially after the game released and was really shit.
I would just like to let it be known that I was not paid by Rockstar Games to talk bad about Mindseye, but God, I wish I was.
Yeah, maybe the checks from the mailman.
Because I would have made more money, but I shit on that game for free.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you haven't seen or played Mindseye, it is essentially a demo of a game. It feels like an Unreal Engine 5 tech demo that was never finished. It seems like a game that sort of belongs as a side game in something like Fortnite or Roblox.
Yep.
That's the best way I can describe it. Completely unfinished, completely broken. There are fundamental features missing from this game that you need in a game that is a GTA-like game. Of course, they technically didn't market it as an open world game, but there is an open world, there is a free roam option. There are fundamental features that you need in a game like this. Like, for one, a police system. There are no police in this game. None. You can go around killing hundreds, thousands of NPCs with no consequences. The story. Do we even want to get into it? You went viral for your reaction to the story.
Twice, at 2 separate times, I broke down, just laughing uncontrollably. I'm laughing and crying at the same time. In general experience of playing the game, but also like the dialogue and how bad it was and how no one sounded like they were human. And I cannot believe that wasn't written by AI. Like it was just, it lacked any soul, any passion, any sense.
You haven't even made it to the end of the game.
No, I was going to ask you.
Slight spoiler alert. One of the last lines in the game is, "This is the harvest, and we are the crop." That's AI. Yeah. Right? No way a human wrote that.
I can't believe you finished the game. How long did it take you? Because I was in it for, 2 hours?
So it took me about 10 or 11 hours. Now, that's not entirely accurate, though, because probably about 2 hours of that was trying to recover my game after it crashed, and I couldn't reload. So I needed to sort of reload an old save file eventually after trying to fix it for about an hour.
And you had a thing on screen that said how many times the game had crashed, and I saw it said 6.
Yeah, I think it was 6 crashes, but I got hard stuck at once, so that was like 4 or 5 crashes trying to get it to reload. So probably about 10 crashes throughout the whole game. Every time I used the sniper rifle, my frame rate would drop to about 5 to 10 frames per second and potentially crash the game. You've got to ask the question, right? Has no one in that game, while testing it, ever used the sniper rifle? Like you can see using a sniper rifle breaks the game. How does that product get shipped?
They had to have known, and they shipped it knowing how bad it was. And you got to wonder why. Like they ran out of money. They just, there was some obligation they had to get the game out at this particular point.
Well, as of 2024, just in their Series D funding alone, they raised $110 million for everywhere. And that's just in the Series D funding. The total rumored funding for this project is $300 million US.
Yeah,
Where did that go?
I wrote something here. So you've mentioned Everywhere. A lot of people may not know what Everywhere is and how it is involved in this at all. So Everywhere is a separate thing from Mindseye, but I am convinced that Mindseye was like built in this Everywhere thing. So
Yeah.
Everywhere is an ambitious open world game in development by Builder Rocket Boy. It was first revealed in 2022 after years of speculation. Everywhere is pitched as a platform blending traditional gameplay with a user-generated content ecosystem, aiming to let players create, share, and interact with expansive virtual worlds. And like reading that, you're like, that's what Mindseye is. It sounds like some game that someone has made inside a user-generated content ecosystem. Right, and they've taken
like I said,
assets and
something
put it
like
together.
Fortnite or Roblox.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it
exactly.
feels like a side game within those games. Yeah. And around that time when they started working on Everywhere, Roblox was obviously pretty big, but Fortnite hadn't fully sort of leaned into that user-generated content yet. And Fortnite has excelled at that now, right? So it's going to be very hard for this Everywhere game to come in and take over Fortnite, who's nailing that, and Roblox, who's nailing that. So it looks like they've kind of scrapped Everywhere potentially, and then they needed to produce something.
Are they nailing it though?
This.
Because if on paper at least, Roblox is making no money, apparently. And Fortnite, if you go and play Fortnite, the main things that are doing well are the main games. Like, I think Fortnite is doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Fortnite's making heaps of money off Fortnite, but I'm not sure how successfully they've really done this user-generated content thing. Like, it seems like a huge cash cow, but like Fortnite and Roblox have a much better chance of succeeding at that than does Everywhere, which isn't a thing that's even out yet, right? So, like, I wonder if they were just looking at this and going, there's no way we're going to be successful with this thing. Maybe we should try and build something within what we've created and throw it out the door and make some money, which is Mindseye. Or maybe Mindseye was just meant to be like a preview, an expression of what you can do in Everywhere, and its success would have had people wanted to jump on and make their own games in Everywhere, but it just didn't work out. Like, clearly a lot of stuff has gone wrong, and Everywhere is somehow involved, but I don't know how, right? I don't think Mindseye ends up like it is in isolation, you know?
What confuses me most about this whole user-generated content in Mindseye is the game is in Unreal Engine. Fortnite is also in Unreal Engine. Fortnite already gives you these tools to make these sorts of games in Fortnite with Unreal Engine. So why is Mindseye coming along trying to do the same thing that Fortnite's already been doing for years, but their version like sucks compared to what Fortnite has already done? It is, the entire thing is so mind-boggling to me that there have been questions, and even I have to ask the questions, like, is this some sort of scam? Is this some sort of money laundering scheme? What happens to $300 million? That's twice the budget of GTA 5.
It's interesting because all of this happening with Everywhere and Mindseye being announced and stuff, all this happened around the time of NFTs and blockchain and how it was going to revolutionize everything and all the scams that ended up coming out of that. So this is a few years in the past, and Everywhere was meant to be tied to blockchain and NFTs, which has now gone away. Like, they've even distanced themselves from it, apparently. And it seems as though that the fallout of all of this may have been all this investment into NFTs and blockchain that ultimately went nowhere. And so they were left with the bag of all these assets and stuff, and they were just trying to make something of it rather than have nothing to show for all this investment. And that may have been what they thought, that they could use blockchain and NFTs to beat Fortnite somehow and make this user-generated world, but it just went nowhere because NFTs were a scam and dumb.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. All this was just insane. But
even with all of that though, like this, I just don't understand. I cannot wrap my head around how Leslie Benzies was okay with releasing this.
The tires of the very first car that I drove didn't spin. They were just stationary, and I was just like, "What?" There's this quote from Jake over at GameRanks that I thought described this game so well. Like, he doesn't like to be negative about anything, and he says in his video, Mindseye is a waste of time. It's dull, it's uninspired, it's messy, it's short, and it's $60. I can't recommend this game not because of the bugs and the glitches or performance issues, but just because it's an undercooked rush game with no real life to it. Like, some people talked about how this could be another Cyberpunk 2077 situation, or No Man's Sky, but there's nothing to this game. It is just...
Cyberpunk was a great game at launch that was broken.
Yes.
There was a game there, though.
Like,
there is no game here.
This could run at 120 FPS with perfect graphics, doing exactly what its foundations want to do, and it would still be complete trash. And that's sad.
Yes.
So, like, Mindseye have made a statement after the launch. obviously they went terribly, saying they would work to fix the game's technical issues, but it's fairly obvious that the game has more issues than simply technical, and they could fix everything about it, FPS-wise, people clipping through the floor, or things not working, the performance issues even on console, and it would still be fundamentally a shit game. To the degree that PlayStation has already said they're going to offer refunds to anyone who's bought the game and who wants one, which is saying something because PlayStation is not the kind of people just to give out refunds for nothing. Your game has to effectively be a scam for PlayStation to be like, here's your money back. And how could they possibly build themselves up from here? And are they dead?
Well, they're out of money now, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
So they're not going to have the money to really fix this game. Where are they going to get the funding for another game? Who's going to donate money to the studio to fund a new game? I mean, I don't know where the studio goes from here. It's probably going to get shut down.
I mean, Everywhere was meant to still come out later, as far as I was aware. It hasn't been scrapped entirely, but you'd assume it'd be scrapped now, right?
It seems as though they were relying on Mindseye to continue to fund whatever they're going to do next. And it peaked at 3,000 players on Steam, right? So if you just calculate the profits, that's not going to make back what they spent on this game, which was hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, so the peak was 3,300 players, and it's 40% positive reviews. Who the hell could review this game positively? That's just crazy to me. It was 60% negative. It's obviously still overwhelming negative, but who is giving this game?
Yeah, some people need higher standards, right? If this was a free-to-play game or a $20 game, we can have a different conversation, but this is a $60 US game. You need higher standards.
There were people legitimately defending the game, guys. Legitimately. All these people criticizing Mindseye. Other games have these problems too. I saw them, and people would point out things I said about the story. They're like, "Oh, you just don't understand modern media. It's a classic." I'm like, "What are you? You crazy?" The 3.3 time all peak was 5 days ago. Yeah, on release. Yeah, I saw a clip of someone finding water, deep water, and they just running across it.
Matt, think of it this way, though. Mindseye has completely killed GTA 6. Which game has more players?
That's a very good point, man. It's an infinitely larger amount of players in Mindseye right now than GTA 6.
That's what I'm saying. GTA 6 is dead.
You remember that article that was Mindseye could be a great way to tide yourself over until GTA 6?
They advertise the game around that.
Really? Yeah, that might be where I saw
there are ads for Mindseye. I think even one of those articles might have been a paid ad.
The only main positive thing that came out of Mindseye was just, because it was somewhat funny. You got a good bunch of clips on Twitter and stuff, and we got some funny moments. But I got a viral clip, because we mentioned it in passing before. I got sponsored to play this game. And I still find it hard to believe that came about. That... Because they were throwing money at this. I just can't believe that they knew how bad the game was and they were still willing to try to pay people to play it. How is that going to save it? I don't know. But regardless, I got a deal to play the game. And I was like, you beauty, this is great, because I was going to be playing Mindseye anyway, but now I'm going to play it and be paid to play it. Let's go. Because obviously I wasn't going to pass up playing the first game that came from Leslie Benzies since he left Rockstar.
Of course.
And I play anything even tangentially related to Rockstar, so of course I was going to play it. Even though there were red flags, I assumed the game would just be some mid thing at worst. At best, it could be actually good. But I knew immediately when I started playing the game that this was just not good. And I kept a straight face playing the game, but when I do something sponsored...
No, you didn't.
No. So I'm saying, when I do something sponsored, my goal is to present the product to the audience, right? My goal isn't to try to bias them against it or in favor of it. My goal is just to go, here is the thing, make up your own mind. And so if you watch me play it, the entire time I'm like, so I shot that guy in the face in this car, and then the car exploded. It seems as though if I shoot the driver, the car explodes. Or I shot a woman in the face in the car, and I'm like, it seems like she didn't flinch when I shot her at all. And I'm seeing that the entire time, talking about what I consider to be story inconsistencies and how bad the writing is and all that stuff. And I'm not...
It's my second day on the job.
Yes, this is still my second day on the job.
That's what keeps us all alive.
But eventually, because my goal wasn't to savage the thing in every way conceivable, but I obviously would talk about what was happening in the game, and just describing what was happening was sufficient for the game to seem complete shit, as it was.
Yeah.
But eventually, the experience of how bad it was caused me to break down in some sort of manic laughing fit during this part where my character and the rich billionaire are like yapping at each other, and the dialogue was just so bad that I can't keep a straight face, and I just start laughing. The story was just so bad. But
that was your funniest stream and video ever.
But
that was amazing.
That part wasn't what went viral though. What went viral is at the very end when my 3 hours was up. I was like, so guys, remember this game was sponsored? My stream was sponsored. If you want to go buy the game, if you want to check out Mindseye now, feel free. ! Spawn in chat, and I give you a link. I was laughing even saying that now.
That was funny, but what was even funnier was when you tried to go just before you ended the stream. You're like, I'm just going to drive off the road and take a little shortcut here. And then the mission fails, and you're like, well, that concludes this preview of Mindseye.
So good. So because I was sponsored to play the game, it became like a viral moment for a lot of news publications, because they said sponsored streamer for the game couldn't even keep a straight face while he was trying to shill the game. And it was true. I just couldn't suggest to people that they should be buying this in any capacity. And I just burst out laughing, and I could not stop laughing as to how bad the game was and how absurd this situation was. I just couldn't fathom how something that bad could come to exist. And
it's mind-boggling.
So it went on Reddit first, and then a bunch of publications picked it up, like Kotaku, and I was mentioned in like most articles about Mindseye as it showcases to that people paid to play it can't enjoy it. But there were also individual articles written about my laughter, and there was but the best one is this clip that was made by someone on my Reddit, Ivy, and it currently has 10 million views on TikTok. It's got like 2 million likes as well. And I thought that was just mad. Like that as a silver lining to this whole Mindseye fiasco has been great.
It was a great sponsorship in the end.
Oh,
it worked out well for you.
Behind the scenes, not to get too much into it, but it was very awkward.
Didn't you void the second half of your sponsorship?
Oh, I immediately said, I don't want to do anything more with this game. I do not. Because I was meant to do like a cut down version of the live stream as a video, which I ended up doing anyway just because it was so funny. But I'm sure I would have had to have them review the video, and they probably wouldn't have liked what I presented. And I was meant to do a short and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not doing any of this. Let me out. And but it was obviously very awkward for the person who got me the deal in the first place as to whether or not I did something illegal or something. Because I don't think you can contractually say a person can't give their thoughts, their honest thoughts, to give positive or negative thoughts. So you can't say, you can only say positive things. But obviously, to some degree, I was taking the piss, to some degree at the end there, laughing so hysterically at how absurd the game was. And whether that violated some obligation I had, who knows?
It was just very stressful. Like, how are you meant to
it was literally uncontrollable laughter. Like, I wasn't trying to do anything. I just literally could not stop laughing. It was so absurd. So I thought I'd be fine, but obviously it was just very awkward behind the scenes, and I'm happy I got out of that, and nothing bad came of it. What was actually funny was I got another sponsored deal like immediately after. for Dune Awakening, and that game was actually very good. So
yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, it was a very good game. I'm hoping it maintains a long-term success as well, but it's getting reviewed very highly. So it's clearly possible to produce good games in the current landscape of gaming. Just unfortunately, Leslie Benzies did not manage to do it. And because people would talk, for example, like, oh man, GTA 6 isn't going to be good because X person left Rockstar or Y person left Rockstar. But now with Leslie Benzies, clearly one person doesn't make a game, No. And it makes you wonder how much Leslie Benzies was really instrumental to the success of, GTA 3, 4, and 5, for example.
Well, apparently the only game that he played a massive role in and was the actual lead on was the launch version of GTA Online. So make of that what you will.
Oh. Really?
Basically, yes.
Because he was involved in them, I suppose. But I'd say just one person does not make a game, and Leslie Benzies' reputation is destroyed completely. And utterly. I don't know how he recovers from this. Screw the company. I don't know how Leslie Benzies as a person recovers from this. Because, that was like the main thing that drew people's attention to the game, his name.
There hasn't been a single positive thing that's come out about Leslie Benzies since...
No.
like for the past few months. Like not a single positive thing.
Yeah, a lot of the statements that the people made, the workers made, they talked about the leadership and stuff, and how it wasn't a meritocracy. It was just who knows who, and who sucks the dick of who higher up, or who's a big enough yes man or whatever. Like it was a terrible work environment, and Leslie being at the top there, it does not speak very highly of him. Unfortunate.
I'm losing brain cells thinking about this game. Shall we move on to a good game?
Sure.
Grand Theft Auto 6. There have been a lot of alleged leaks recently, over the past week or two. Now, how much do you want to discuss about this? Because I know you don't want to get into spoilers. There are some potential spoilers. I won't go over any of the quote-unquote potential story spoilers in this video. I've made a separate video on that. And I know you don't want that. But there are some gameplay quote-unquote leaks that we can get into. I can explain where they came from. These won't spoil anything. These are just some gameplay leaks that you're probably aware of anyway.
The only leaks I looked into were the 2022 leaks, and since Rockstar has now formally released stuff themselves, I generally stay away from them. But I am still curious about where they came from. It's hard to get that information without exposing myself to stuff that I potentially don't want to. And so I think you can suss out what people would want to know or not want to know, and you can just explain.
I won't spoil anything that would ruin your experience or ruin anything. Okay, so where these leaks came about is from a Twitter account named Gameroll. Now, I've spoke to Gameroll a handful of times. Pretty nice guy. He's very honest. Like, he tries his best to be honest. He's trying to grow his Twitter page. Seems like a good kid. Now,
I follow him, yeah.
Yes. Now, 2 weeks, maybe a month before Trailer 2 came out, he made a post on Twitter saying, "What do you guys think Jason and Lucia's last names are? I think it'll be Lucia Caminos and Jason Duval. Why? Just because they sound cool." So obviously, he knew what their last names were weeks or months before the trailer came out. You can't guess those last names. Okay, that's... Some people have been saying, "Oh, he just got lucky." It's like, dude, be serious. No. So he has a source that told him this information. Okay. He has clarified that this source is basically, he knows someone who knows someone. Okay, so he doesn't have a direct source at Rockstar Games. He is talking to someone who is friends with someone at Rockstar Games. He then went on over the past 2 weeks to reveal all of the other stuff that this source has told him about the game. Now, of course, we can't verify this for sure, but this is coming from the same source that correctly leaked the last names of the two main characters. So they do know something. When it comes to gameplay leaks, again, we don't know if these are real, but, pointing towards the fact that they will be real. A 6-star wanted level will be returning. No surprise there. They only went back to a 5-star wanted level for GTA 5. There will be no honor system like in Red Dead 2, but there will be a relationship system bar with Jason and Lucia that's going to be somewhat similar. Weight mechanics are going to be a thing. There will be explorable underwater areas with treasures and secrets. Really no surprises there at all, right? Like, of course.
Yeah, I think GTA 5 lacks a lot of that, and it's not surprising.
Yes. And there's going to be much more water in Vice City. Yeah. And we already saw this like in the screenshots as well, right? Like we saw a scuba diving shot, so this isn't a surprise there. The trailer 2 scene where Jason's buying beer and walking out of the shop with that 6-pack is gameplay, so the graphics will really be that good. That is something you can do. You can go to a store and buy beer if you want. It will have a greet and antagonize system, just like Red Dead 2 did.
I mean, GTA 5 had a little bit of that as well. If you walk up to people and press E or whatever, and you'd greet them or antagonize them. But it was so bare bones. It's not surprising.
Yes.
I mean, they did
Red
expand
Dead 2
on
system's
Red Dead 2,
very
so.
good.
Yeah.
So, of course, that's coming back. Probably will be expanded upon a little bit as well, right? The character wheel is going to have 3 options. So, an option to play as Jason, option to play as Lucia, and then an option to bring them both along. So, you can have both of them sort of in the same area where you can switch to either one you want. Kind of like, I guess, the hangout system in GTA 5, right? Where you would get Michael and Franklin to go out and do something together. You can do the same thing with Jason and Lucia. And during this time, you can go out in the open world, rob stores, do whatever you want. Right? The rectangle minimap will be returning. So it's not going back to a circle. It will be a rectangle. And the waypoints are going to be pink. as opposed to purple in GTA 5. That makes sense. Vice City, pink,
color.
Jason is supposedly going to have a Deadeye-like ability where he slows down time and reveals weak spots. Lucia can do it, but only one high-damage shot. Source said this is apparently super bad, and they hope it gets changed. It's meant to show how Jason is a better shot than Lucia due to his time in the army. Now, even Gameroll has come out and said he's not too sure about this one, if this is accurate. I can see Jason having a Deadeye ability for sure. We saw this in the leaks as well in 2022. He had sort of an eagle eye ability where he could see high-value items. As for Lucia having this same ability, though, I don't know if I believe that.
Feels unoriginal. Like they would give her something separate.
Yes, so I would have some questions over this, for sure.
I'm not sure how much I really like that they have abilities at all. Like, the more I think on it, especially doing the same kind of ability that they have in Red Dead 2, and just bring it again. I think I've seen enough Deadeye, but I guess when you give Deadeye, though, you can kind of, make it easier for people not as good at the game. And
I mean, is it really hard to believe, though? No, but obviously they had it in Red Dead 2, but Michael basically has Deadeye.
Oh, no, yes, I'm saying. Like, it's in half the goddamn games. It's in Max Payne.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they need to do something else that's not Deadeye, but they just keep bringing it back. And I think it's just because it makes it easier for people who suck at the game or are using controllers and stuff, because like a person gets stuck and they suck with shooting, they're just going to stay stuck with shooting. But if they get stuck, then go, oh, I can use Deadeye and progress and stuff. And I think it's part of the reason why they give you that ability. But I'm over Deadeye. I want something new.
Yeah, I can understand that. A lot of the leaks that came out around 2020 and 2021, they were saying, the male protagonist is going to be the better shot and whatnot. But the female protagonist, who now we know is Lucia, is going to be more tech savvy, and she's going to be a bit of a hacker, perhaps. I don't know if that's accurate anymore, but I feel like that would be a much more cool thing to lean into, as opposed to just giving Lucia a weaker Deadeye. Like, give her some sort of other ability.
I mean, it's not to judge a book by her cover. Lucia doesn't come across as a techie sort of person.
No,
right?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, for sure. She seems like a fighter. Maybe give her like a fighting ability or something. I
don't know. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. What else?
People react to having your gun out. I mean, no shit, obviously. Right. Male strippers are in the game. We kind of already knew this through that Port Gellhorn screenshot of the strip club in Port Gellhorn. If you zoom in, you can see there's a poster that says there's a ladies' night. So it seems like there will be certain days where there will be male strippers if you want that. Driving is the best it's ever been. Again, no surprise, right? Like, you would think it's going to be the best it's ever been.
Yep.
GTA 5 was a step up over GTA 4. Gore and Dismemberment is being built off of Red Dead 2.
Like, you can legitimately remove limbs in Red Dead 2, and they'll have, like, bones jutting out and stuff. Building upon that, it could be some pretty gruesome stuff, right? Because, I realize that we've been playing these violent games for so many years, but there's still, like, a large amount of people who see, like a head explode or something, and they're truly put off by that. I wonder how much they're balancing that kind of gritty, realistic gore gameplay.
Well, you could do that in San Andreas and like Vice City.
but it's not. But they don't look much like people. I mean, if we look at San Andreas graphics, it's clearly cartoon characters and stuff. But the current high quality kind of appearance of GTA 6, you're going to see a person have their head blown off, and you're going to see like a person having their head blown off. Like,
but what if you run over 20 people in a truck? What's that going to look like?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Right?
I wondered if one of the reasons why they didn't put the Rockstar editor in Red Dead 2 was they were worried because of how realistic things are looking these days, what people would make. And with GTA 6, I wonder if they're going to go the Rockstar editor route, because people could straight up make porn.
Got to.
Or gore movies kind of things, and I want them to, clearly, so I can, not for that stuff, but I mean, so I can make stuff for my content and stuff. But I wonder how worried they are about that stuff. I don't know.
Maybe they disable gore in the Rockstar editor.
And people mod it and get around it. I mean, people weren't able, surprisingly, to mod back in the Rockstar editor into Red Dead 2. But if you give them that, like we already use mods in GTA 5 to get past the first-person restrictions, get past the limitations on how long you can record, get past the limitations of recording in cutscenes, and you see all this broken stuff that you're clearly not meant to be able to see. And if they give us the Rockstar editor, people will 100% get around it. It's going to be very interesting to see what people do.
Final ones here. The limited weapon system returns from Red Dead 2. Instead of being stored in your horse, your weapons will be stored in a vehicle trunk this time, which I'm actually a fan of. I think we're kind of past the point in video games now where you can pull an RPG out of your back pocket.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit gimmicky at this point. Even GTA 5, GTA Online, some voice lines make fun of that now. I think with GTA 6, it would be a bit of a shock if you could just carry an entire arsenal on you. I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it ruins the gameplay in some cases where you never feel like you're outgunned or whatever, because you always can just pull out a minigun and just blow everyone away. But I wonder, part of the joy in GTA 5 is that at least a lot of the time you can just jump into another car. You can see a cool car, jump into it, and drive. If indeed you're storing weapons in the boot of your car, can you still just pick up a random car on the street and drive it and still have access to your weapons? I'm assuming no.
This could give you a way to sort of like be more attached to your personal vehicle, though.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, but some people didn't want personal vehicles in GTA 6. It might be that only our personal vehicle has access to these weapons, and if we grab a different vehicle, then we lose access to our larger pool of weaponry.
Like in Red Dead 2, could you store it on random horses that you picked up?
I believe it was just any horse you put your saddle on. Right.
Really? Okay.
I was pretty sure. But I mean, it is a little bit different in Red Dead 2 because it's horses. Like, you don't run across that many horses when you're out and about. Some, but in a city like GTA 6, there's cars everywhere. We're not going to be like taking a saddle from one car to the next. How are we transferring these weapons from car to car? Or is it just going to be, you steal another car and then just magically your weapons are in the boot? You got to balance realism with gameplay.
I'm sure they'll nail it, though.
Yeah.
They always seem to. What are these okay level spoilers? These aren't spoiling stuff for you, or
nah? It's basic game mechanics. I mean, most of these things we've already speculated on anyway. And considering that we don't know for certain if these are true.
Exactly. Because there's some cut and non-existent content. He says here that people aren't really happy with. So we'll go through these. There's apparently going to be no fully nude sex scenes. Is that surprising?
I mean,
not really,
because there's R18 plus for games, but you can get your game outright banned. And I think if it was actually pornography, that would risk that. That's not surprising. No.
No, I mean, there's going to be the strip club. Like, I feel like they've never really done that for the main characters, right? Like, they've never had fully nude sex scenes with the main characters in GTA.
I mean, when it comes to not being fully nude, I mean, in GTA 5, you have tits out, arse out. It's basically like a small bit of fabric over the crotch, and that's it. I mean, it's basically nudity, but there are no sex scenes. And I imagine that's probably what they're going to do again, unsurprisingly.
Yeah. Now, this one has got a lot of people upset. Listening to music outside of a car apparently isn't a thing.
That's surprising.
That is surprising, especially with how many people they showed in the screenshots and the trailer with AirPods in. I don't know if I believe this one.
I wonder if it's a licensing thing or...
No, I mean, Cyberpunk did it. Watch Dogs has done it. I'd be very surprised if this is real. I don't know about this one. Apparently being able to go prone was cut a while ago. Now, we saw this in the 2022 leak. So as of 2022, this was in the game. So at some point, apparently over the past 3 years, they've cut this out.
You reckon crouching's still a thing, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be very shocked if crouching wasn't a thing.
I mean, while the idea of going prone is cool, like, how often is that like a functional thing you really want to do in gameplay? Like, that is meant to be rushing along and stuff. Like, you're not camping the NPCs and stuff. I can see why they might cut it, especially if it would cause you to be able to go into places you shouldn't be able to go into. I don't think it's that
like
valuable.
With a world as big as GTA's worlds are, it would just allow for so many possible glitches and bugs.
Yep.
Being able to crawl into spaces.
And that's part why they removed ragdolling in online, I think.
Yeah.
And like, just crouching is just so much more functional. Like, because you can crouch and still move at a decent speed. You can take cover better. I mean, because we're already basically taking cover on walls and stuff, and that's kind of what crouching is anyway. Yeah, I can see how that would end up happening.
The amount of people in the video I made about this that were telling me this is a deal breaker for them. That there's no prone. I was shocked at how many people are like set on having a prone feature in this game.
I mean, outside
There
of
are some people that aren't going to buy the game. Apparently, that's what they're saying. I don't believe them.
Like what's a game that has prone in it? Like PUBG, COD, those kind of real hardcore shooters, right? That's about it, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't think of an open world.
I mean, some open world, like Assassin's Creed has it, for example.
Oh,
like, a lot of stealth games.
And there's a lot of hiding. You're hiding from people in places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see.
It's not that necessary. I mean, if they could make it work and have no bugs, sure. Like, I'd love to have a prone system, but it's not. This isn't a deal breaker. I don't know why people are saying this is a deal breaker. Dual wielding weapons isn't in the game.
Oh.
There will be no Disney World parody, apparently. And there will be no burglary mini games, apparently.
What counts as burglary? Like just going into people's houses? Because surely you
Yeah,
can still rob people's stores and stuff.
You'll be able to rob stuff. See, this is with this leak. When the leak is coming from a source of a source, a lot of stuff will get lost and sort of become confusing in translation.
All this is so random, as said in chat there. This is just such a random assortment of different facts about the game.
It is.
I'm disappointed there's no dual wielding though. Like, it just looks so cool with two weapons just going ham.
Oh, for sure. But how practical would it be in a game like GTA?
It just looks cool. Yeah.
It's more practical in Red Dead where you're a gunslinger, you know, it's sick, you're an outlaw. But like in a modern day game, it's not as feasible. So I can understand it.
Yeah. And this Drake leak as well, different source?
Yeah, apparently there's a few sources have been reporting that Drake will have his own radio station. Now, do we believe this? Who knows, man? There have been leaks over the past year that DJ Khaled's going to have a radio station, that Joe Rogan's going to have a podcast. It's like, I don't know how much stock I put into this at this point. I don't know about you.
I mean, has Rockstar ever had a dedicated radio station has involvement of an actual artist? Like, they've obviously had real songs on the radio, but I can't recall a radio station dedicated to one artist. Really?
What do you mean dedicated to one artist? Like only that artist's songs?
Or will they reach out to the artist and the artist is involved in making music for a radio station?
Frank Ocean with Blonded FM.
Really?
Cara Delevingne was the host of Non-Stop Pop.
So there is precedent for this?
So they've done this before. I don't know how much involvement they have with the actual like radio station itself, but they're definitely like the radio host for that station. They've had real artists do that. Yeah, for sure.
Then I think I
wouldn't put it past them. Like, there is a chance that Drake is a radio station host.
Ever since they got Dre for Dr. Dre for GT Online, I think the sky's the limit. They clearly want like mainstream artists in the game, and it's just a question of who they can get for what price.
Because we know Rockstar doesn't like handing out big money for that sort of thing. We've had some artists over the past year get upset that Rockstar wasn't paying them what they wanted.
And I think that was entirely unjustified, that whole story. But
the
Drake's reputation, though, right now is not very good. Kendrick Lamar bodied him, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes.
It's funny because his name was Lamar. It's kind of funny. GTA 5. But I mean, I wonder how early they started this with Drake, as to whether that was before the beef.
I really don't think it would impact them anyway.
No,
Drake is still huge.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. It's kind of funny. That sort of
that would make it even funnier that he's in the game, though.
Oh, yeah,
it?
true. A lot of jokes will be made. Yeah. I mean, they should give Kendrick Lamar his own radio station as well.
Hey, maybe he has his own.
That would be
maybe
so
they both have a radio station. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
So next topic here, GT4 is supposedly getting a remaster or a port. It's more than likely a port, seemingly. And it could release this year, according to Tez. So Tez, too, is a person who is in the know on a lot of stuff, has various sources. He's given us a lot of good information over time. So whenever he says anything, people take notice. And he says, someone at Rockstar hinted at the GT4 port, and by now it should have gone up a year in development. We may end up seeing it drop later this year. And there's one more reason, in addition to existing reasons, that the LCPP mod was taken down, which was what?
Liberty City Preservation Project.
Exactly,
in GTA 5.
We talked about that previously. If they still follow their plan laid out from the pandemic days, they'll do a Max Payne 3 port after GTA 4. So that's an opportunity to do a bundle or a definitive edition, Max Payne 1 and 2 remakes, and a Max Payne 3 port. But people mainly talking about the GTA 4 ports because that hasn't been announced, while the Max Payne stuff has been. In the most recent Take-Two earnings call, it was stated that Take-Two plans to release 4 new iterations of previously released titles before April 2026, and one of those titles has not been announced. So people were like, oh, this could be the GTA 4 port or remaster or whatever. But in reality, it turns out this might just be the Red Dead Redemption 2 next-gen update that is coming to, well, that might be coming to the Switch 2.
Switch 2.
And finally giving 60 FPS to consoles as well, which I was unaware was still 30 FPS. After all this time.
Still 30 frames.
How old was that game? It was like 2019, wasn't it?
2018, yeah.
2018, yeah. It's like that. How is it still 30 FPS? That's crazy.
Bizarre.
Especially considering that they do have the PS5 Pro and stuff out. I mean, even the base PS5 could do 60 FPS, surely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the GTA 4 port, Tez has said he's like pretty much certain that it is in development. We don't know which studio at Rockstar is working on it, but this would be a side studio or something they've outsourced to Double 11 Studios, who did the Red Dead 1 port. So this wouldn't affect GTA 6.
His statement, though, that potentially this year, though, I think he walked that back at some point. Especially considering that this Red Dead Redemption 2 next-gen update is more certain, and that's probably the thing they were talking about in the earnings call.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's all coming.
There is a chance, though, right? Like, because GTA 6 was meant to come out at the end of the year. That's been moved. So they're going to need something for the end of the year. But at this point, yeah, it looks like a Red Dead 2 remaster port, 60 frames, is in the works for the Switch 2. So, yeah. Which one's going to come first? Are they both going to come this year? Obviously, there's a chance, but with the Switch 2 launching, it looks like Red Dead 2 would be the more likely candidate. Obviously, 60 frames per second on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S would be huge. It's necessary as well, absolutely. But mainly with the GTA 4 port, this is big news because GTA 4 came out on PS3, which means, because with how PlayStation does their previous compatibility, you can't play it on PS4 or PS5. You can on Xbox, I believe. So you can still play Xbox 360 games on the current gen Xbox, I believe. But that's not the case for PlayStation. So on PlayStation, GTA 4 is completely dead. So this would be a big deal, even if it is just a port and it's not an actual remaster. This would be really big news because, I mean, think about it, man. Like, I would say most of GTA Online's player base at this point in time, that's the only GTA they've ever played.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Right, like most of these young people that are playing the game now probably never even had a PS3. But they don't even have the option to play GTA 4. So bringing this to current consoles would be huge. Even if it's not a graphical upgrade, just a simple port, I think, would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, even if you know like GTA 4 exists, you have to seek it out and play it on often antiquated hardware. Like having just GTA 4 be present in people's minds again will just expand the amount of people interested in it astronomically. Like I think it would sell unbelievably well, even if it was just the same game that they released so many years ago. I would like to see them improve it somewhat, but given what happened last time, they did a definitive edition.
Can we trust Rockstar to actually?
Surely, like I don't think they would ever fuck up that way again. But I suppose we'll always be comparing to Mindseye now, so it doesn't matter what they do; they'll still look good by comparison.
But, I occasionally I do get disappointed with Rockstar remasters because you look at other studios, like let's just say Naughty Dog, with how well they've remastered The Last of Us Part 1. And how it genuinely looks like a PlayStation 5 game. And that's a 2013 game now. They've remastered it multiple times. And it is sad that Rockstar, even with the Red Dead 1 remaster that they did, it is the exact same graphics. There's really no improvements there that they made. But, I have to remind myself that Naughty Dog remakes and remasters those games. But when they do, it pushes all of their other games back. Rockstar's just outsourcing these to other studios, which, I mean, would I rather have a really great GTA 4 remaster with GTA 5 level graphics but that means they have to push GTA 6 back another 2 or 3 years? Or would I rather have GTA 6 in 2026?
You've hit the nail on the head. Like, there's only so much you can do. Even in my own work, I've caught myself doing that sometimes, getting obsessed with my old work and re-releasing it and improving it and stuff, and rather than spending time making something new that people appreciate far more. In the case of GTA 4, like, obviously I wouldn't want it to delay GTA 6, but you're right, it's just so long ago. Like, when you talk about Naughty Dog, the games that they're remastering are often far more recent releases compared to GTA 4. Like, I think a GTA 4 remaster would be far more appreciated than The Last of Us remastered. As it just for accessibility reasons, as you say.
Yeah.
I hope they do something more than a simple port, but I think probably all they need to do is a simple port and it will sell astronomical numbers.
Yeah, well, you saw how bad the definitive edition was, and that sold over 20 million copies.
Yeah, how many?
That's more than most high-selling games that released this year.
How many copies did Red Dead 1 remaster?
No, but if we look at just Steam charts, for example, Red Dead Redemption 1, the remaster that came out, in November or October last year, it only peaked at 8,600 players.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
So
sales,
these aren't
but
massive numbers.
no. I mean, Red Dead is just less popular than GTA anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
Red Dead 2 has got, like, a quarter of the sales of GTA 5.
Yeah, like the definitive edition, San Andreas, peaked at 2,000 players.
Yeah, so, I mean,
These aren't big numbers.
well, 8,000 players is still a lot. Like, especially, was the port just on Steam? It's hard to remember.
No, so they released it on PS4. Yeah, they didn't even do a PS5 remaster. It was PS4, and then they re-released it again on PC at the end of 2024. About a year before, they did it for consoles, and then 2024, it came out PC.
Because Red Dead Redemption 2 has sold 75 million units, and GTA 5 has sold 215 million. So, okay, a third of them. And so, we'd expect GTA 4 Remastered to get at least 3 times the sales of Red Dead Redemption 1. Regardless, I mean, it's a smart move. The smart move for this stuff to come out, and we hope it's good, basically.
Now, tomorrow, when we're recording this video, which by the time this podcast comes out, it will have already happened. Tomorrow, a GTA Online update is coming out. A DLC. Money fronts. This is shaping up to be the smallest update, maybe? One of the smaller GTA Online updates we've had for a while, a couple years. We're going to be getting the car wash in Strawberry as a purchasable property that we can launder money through. And while we do more illegal work for the car wash, our heat bar is going to rise, and we will need to then do legal work to bring our heat bar down. So there's a new business. It's going to be introducing a new mechanic where you need to do both legal and illegal work. Once you buy this car wash business, you'll then be able to buy 2 more properties. Smoke on the Water, that you could previously buy as Franklin in single player, and Higgins Heli Tours, which you could also buy as Michael and Franklin in single player. Again, like I believe you tweeted out, Rockstar will always find a way to be able to reuse more single-player content, even when you think it's impossible.
Yeah, because we talked about that in an earlier SixStar, where we were like, what else isn't there in single-player that they haven't brought to online? And I didn't consider that, yeah, there's technically buildings that you purchase in single-player that you can't purchase in online. Although you never purchased the car wash in single-player, but...
no.
Was that not usable in online?
Yeah, you could use it.
But it just wasn't a thing that you could do anything with. The car wash
That's
always...
interesting, actually. I guess you won't be able to use the car wash anymore unless you own the property.
The car wash always felt like an underutilized kind of thing in the game. Like, washing your car had no real functional purpose at all. And you could just, switch characters to clean your car anyway. Very, very strange.
Or go to LS Customs and spend, $100 to repair the car.
Yeah, there were a lot more easily accessible ways to clean your car than going to that car wash. And it never really came up in the story. You meet there once. It's interesting that this is the depths they have to go to find new content for GTA Online.
Oh, it's on its last legs, Matt.
Yeah, last
legs.
It's
on its last legs. But yes, I don't expect anything massive from this DLC. I think it's going to be smaller than the one we got in December. This might be around the same size as the bottom dollar bounties update we got last June. I would expect something similar. I don't know what your expectations are for it.
I'll be honest, I haven't looked at any of the marketing material for this. Is there any suggestion they're bringing back some other character or whatever? Because with the bottom dollar bounties...
Great that you asked that question, Matt, because it comes out tomorrow and we don't even have a trailer for it, so we don't know.
Yeah,
All we've got is one short newswire, which, again, just Rockstar's marketing continues to confuse me. This is very strange marketing for this DLC. It's like they don't want people to play it.
I was about to say, maybe they don't want to boost up people's expectations and have them be disappointed.
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's strange. But yeah, I really don't know. And I kind of wanted to branch into an overarching topic here for a little bit with you is, obviously, GTA Online's on its last legs. The DLCs are very much slowing down. They're diving into the bottom of the barrel with what content they can bring back from single player now. What do you think their plans are over the next, 11 months until 6 comes out?
I imagine the same thing they're doing now, which is just bringing what little assets they have from single player into online and calling it a DLC so they can do as little as possible.
Do you think this will be the last DLC?
I mean, you'd know that more than me because you have some better understanding of the release schedule of the updates for GTA Online, like how cyclical they are. Like I never keep track. I wake up one day and there's an update. I'm like, oh, good. I don't really pay attention to when they come out.
Well, they've sort of gone into this pattern of June and then December are their two big DLCs. Then they release a small DLC in March, right? I would assume we're not going to get a March DLC. I can say almost for certain that would be very strange if we did, because GTA 6 comes out in May. But a December DLC? Like, we spoke about last episode how we think the last big DLC for GTA Online would kind of have to be like a send-off DLC, right? You would think it would be cool. And if GTA 6 was going to come out this year like it was originally scheduled, I have a really hard time believing that this would be the last DLC, this Money Fronts DLC. This seems like something they cobbled together in a matter of months.
I think most likely that they have something planned, already ready, and they've just pushed it a bit further away.
December.
And they've just put this in place of...
That's what I'm thinking. It's got to be.
Yeah.
And again, like I've mentioned it a few times on my channel, I almost know for certain, like I have it like with multiple sources that have said this to me over the years, that there is a Michael DLC that was recorded at some point, years ago now.
But beyond the single player stuff, you mean?
Yes. There was a GTA Online specific Michael DLC that Ned Luke apparently, and he won't confirm or deny this, but apparently he recorded this several years ago. I don't know if it got scrapped or what's going on, but multiple sources have said to me that yes, this is a thing.
Yeah, because I've always said it's been weird that he's not come to online, especially now when he's more engaged in the whole ecosystem of content and stuff. There has to be a reason for that, and I just don't know.
And a Michael DLC is the perfect final DLC for GTA Online.
I mean, the perfect final one would be all three coming back in some...
Well, yes.
Last hurrah. But yeah, hopefully we get something, but it's always possible that it just fizzles out into nothing. I mean, it doesn't need a final send-off, I don't think. Like, people are going to jump into GTA 6 regardless, so...
Yeah.
But it just feels like a missed opportunity and maybe a bit of an insult to the legacy of the game.
What did you make of the report? Well, actually, it was in their earnings call, the last earnings call, that GTA 6's development only really began in 2020. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, it says... The phrasing was, it only begun in earnest in 2020, which that phrasing there matters a lot because it implies that they were doing things before 2020, but it was really when they ramped up developing the game in as I say, in earnest. Because we know that they were, scouting locations and stuff as early as 2018, but I think they probably had some idea of the story even before that.
Well, all of these Project Americas leaks, and I don't know how familiar you are with the Project Americas leaks, but they came out around 2018, right? And this was, the leak said that it was going to take place in Vice City. It's also going to take place in certain parts of South America. Project Americas, basically. It's going to focus on the drug trade between Vice City and Miami and Cuba or wherever. Multiple protagonists. There's going to be, apparently... They originally planned for part of the game to take place in the 1980s, with the rest of it taking place in modern day. This was a massive project that they initially had planned out. Now, that got scrapped, and around 2020, Jason Schreier reported that Project Americas had turned into what GTA 6 is now being developed as a bit of a smaller scale game. It's not going to include a big chunk of South America. It's not going to include multiple cities across America, that is. There's multiple cities in Florida, of course. And it's going to be more of a realistic scope of a game. It's also interesting that this 2020, when Strauss Zelnick claims that GTA 6's real development began or pre-production ended, is around the time that Dan Houser left the company, who was the co-founder of Rockstar Games. So interesting there. Draws into question why Dan Houser left. Maybe he was pushing for this Project Americas, and they didn't want to go with that idea, so he said, all right, I'm going to move on.
It could also just be coincidental, because it was around the time of the release of Red Dead 2, and potentially, online was, maybe it was less successful than they hoped, and online was not as successful as they hoped, and they were like, well, we'll put more resources into GTA 6. Because how concrete is our understanding of this whole rebooting of GTA 6? Like, I've heard that it was rebooted multiple times. And how long does that take? I mean, like, could it be the case that when he says it's only being worked on in earnest in 2020, that he's talking about, like, the current iteration of GTA 6, and they were working on it? Or the earlier versions, the earlier types of GTA 6 before this, but it was only in 2020 when they finally finalized what they really wanted to do? Because I'm just surprised that they wouldn't have some people tinkering around in the background for even as long as since GTA 5 released, right? Trying to get an understanding as to what they would do with GTA 6 when they had the impetus, the time, the desire to work on it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe, isn't it? Because, like, if we look at CD Projekt Red, for example, we know that Witcher 4 isn't going to come out until at least 2026, right? But they've already announced that Cyberpunk 2 is in pre-production. But before their next game is even out, the game after that is already in pre-production. So you would have assumed that was the case for GTA 6, right? Before Red Dead 2 even came out, that it would have been in pre-production.
Because I think you need to have some idea as to what the game is going to be to know whether or not you should dedicate time to it. I
find it so strange that, real production only started in 2020, like full production. Because surely pre-production would have started before Red Dead 2 came out, right?
Yeah.
And that would be a 2 or 3 year pre-production. I kind of have to believe that the game got rebooted somewhere along there, right?
I wonder to what degree developments in Red Dead Redemption 2 have sped along the development of GTA 6. Because they're not starting from scratch, right? I mean, because we see in the leaks and stuff that they're using various animations from Red Dead 2 and whatnot. I imagine that would have sped things along.
Yeah, of course.
Neither of us are developers, so I'm sure a person who was intimately familiar with the timeline for games of this size would perhaps have greater insight, but we can only speculate, I suppose.
One day I hope someone comes out and tells the story of GTA 6's development, because it seems to be so interesting what's happened behind the scenes over the past decade at Rockstar. I have a lot of questions.
Rockstar is very secretive, unfortunately. Of course, we're getting a lot more leaks these days, but
yes, every
second day someone's leaking something.
Yeah.
That was a big discussion around when the trailer happened, and you mentioned it in passing when we were talking about the buying of the beer from the store. People were talking about how much of the second trailer was gameplay, because it seemed to shock people, and it honestly shocked me as well that any of it was. But I suppose that when I think about gameplay in a trailer, I think about seeing like the overlay and the map in the corner, and how many bullets he has on the top. But obviously, when Rockstar came out and said a lot of the second trailer was gameplay, they were talking about like using an editor or whatever, a Rockstar editor sort of functionality where you're recording the game, but from particular angles that was beneficial for the trailer. Were you aware when you were watching the second trailer that this was gameplay? Well, much of it was?
I was sort of always under the impression that pretty much all of it is going to be gameplay with Rockstar trailers. Like with Red Dead 2, for example, the final game looked far better than the trailers. With Rockstar, we know as well, all the cutscenes are essentially gameplay. Like, they're not necessarily gameplay, but they're, in-engine. This isn't some pre-rendered thing. These are in-game cutscenes.
Yeah, Rockstar does seem to buck the trend in that their trailers almost seem to undersell the game and how it looks on release. How much of that is the delays that they often have for these games, I don't know. But there have been some publishers who have oversold their game, but Rockstar has, at least as far as I'm aware, never done that.
No.
It's crazy to think how good that second trailer was, and that's, potentially worse than the game is going to look when we actually play it.
Quite insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
And when you think about it as well, this is running on a PS5. We already know the PlayStation 6 is in development. Sony has said that they want a PlayStation 6 to come out relatively soon. So how long until we get a GTA 6 remaster? Maybe like 3 or 4 years from now, it'll be remastered and ported to the PlayStation 6 as well as PC. The game will look even better.
You don't think it's going to release on both around the same time? I mean... I know, because I guess
PS6
GTA 6
and
is...
PS5?
I'd say the PlayStation 6 is not going to come out before GTA 6, I guess.
No, it wouldn't.
No, so it'd have to come out after.
Late 2026 at the earliest, you would think. Maybe 2027.
It would be crazy if, due to Rockstar's current association with PlayStation, that they delayed the game to get it on the PlayStation 6. How crazy would that be?
This is exactly what Rockstar did with GTA 5, though. They release it about a year or two before the next PlayStation comes out, so they can double dip.
Yeah.
And make more money. They're geniuses. They're absolute geniuses, Matt.
It's crazy they didn't do that with Red Dead 2, though. It's taken them this long to release a 60 FPS version of the game.
There is no PS5 version of the game. It's still PS4.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I don't know why they haven't.
Mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or even just port it over, but give us a 60 frames per second mode.
It's hard to understand the mind of Rockstar Games, though. Did you see this on Discord? That if you watch trailer 2, you can get 1 day of Discord Nitro. What
can you do with a day of Discord Nitro?
Exactly. So most people probably don't even know what Discord Nitro is. I barely even know. But it's like the paid features for Discord. They give you animated emotes, and you can use emotes in other servers and stuff.
I think you can stream in higher quality or something on Discord. But
for certain people, it has some benefits. I have it base because I have a partner Discord or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what normal Discord is like, but it's crazy. 1 day of Discord Nitro, and to watch the trailer was Rockstar trying to boost up the numbers on YouTube? I don't know. What a strange way of advertising the game. It's crazy.
This stuff like this makes me realize that Rockstar, and from what we've spoke about with the people we know at Rockstar as well, right? A lot of the stuff Rockstar does is rooted with them being stuck in the past, right? They're kind of stuck in the past. They're a bit newer to social media. And stuff like this makes me realize that, honestly, there's a lot of stuff with social media that Rockstar doesn't understand at all.
I wonder to some degree if there was just some executive from Discord at a party with some executive from Rockstar, and they shook hands and said, let's make something work. Let's just do something, because I know you, and you know me. It feels like that's how a lot of these deals are done. It's just who you know.
Yeah, it is.
And none of us
so what
content
you're saying
creators...
is someone had to have been drunk to come up with this idea. That's how absurd it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I
drunk
hear
at a party.
I hear that they're going to be changing and are going to do more with content creators and stuff, but I don't think I've seen much of that as of yet. But the game hasn't released, so who knows?
Yeah, I guess their marketing hasn't really started, has it?
Yeah, no. I mean,
we'll see.
What we're talking about
eventually,
in terms of this out of touch thing, kind of plays into the next topic, where Strauss Zelnick did an interview, the CEO of Take-Two, who owns Rockstar Games. I don't know if I have to keep saying that, but he came out and said he doesn't play video games. He says his role is to attract, retain, and motivate the best talent in the business, and then get out of their way. Which is a cool statement, I think.
Yeah.
In a vacuum, you would have assumed that people would be like, what, he doesn't play video games? What a bastard. But honestly, I thought the reception to him saying this was quite positive.
I mean, isn't that the type of boss you would prefer to have?
Yeah.
As opposed to someone like Leslie Benzies, who's dictating your every move. Obviously, they have different roles. You know, Strauss is Take-Two of a publisher, whereas Leslie Benzies is the director of a game. I understand that, but just purely as types of people you would like leading you. You know, if you're an expert in something, you kind of want your boss to trust you.
You want...
So this makes sense.
Yeah, and you want a person who understands the limitations of their own capabilities and knowledge. To be like, this is your thing, I will stay doing my thing. I will not try and suppress you into what I think is right. I don't know. It's I thought that was really cool. And but it is wild, though, to think that there's a person out there who can, right now, play GTA 6. but doesn't want to.
Just doesn't care.
No, I got stuff to do this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not
Screw
really a
GTA
gamer.
6.
Thank you, though. Yeah.
Unreal. This next topic, have you ever played a graphics mod for GTA 5?
I believe so, but modding's more your thing.
Yeah.
I generally stick to watching videos on it.
This latest mod from NaturalVision, what do they actually call? What's the name of it's Raised. So Raised mods, they have constantly released enhancements for the graphics of GTA 5. But with the release of, the actual enhanced version of GTA 5 from Rockstar, this enabled a lot more things to be done with the game, largely revolved around the lighting and shadows and stuff. And so they've released a new graphics mod that currently has, the trailer for it has 418,000 views on YouTube, which is pretty nuts for a mod. And it radically changes the way the game looks, making it brighter, more vibrant, and more beautiful. And it honestly looks a lot like the way kind of GTA 6 looks in terms of its improvements to the game. And I think it's really impressive that if you put this side by side with what the game looked like in 2013, it's just an unreal development of the graphics for the game. And I just thought it was cool to highlight that this had come out. And if you were interested in playing the top tier kind of graphics of what is possible for GTA 5, check out the NaturalVision enhanced mod. I'll be doing a speedrun with it at some point in the future, as I did with their previous one, but the new one looks even better.
How's the performance on it? Did it
it's surprisingly good. I mean, but it's hard for me to tell because I, have a 5090 and all that jazz, but I've had comparable FPS to just playing the normal enhanced version of GTA 5. It doesn't seem to put on a huge overhead. I don't know how much of the changes are just stylistic changes. Rockstar wanted to keep more of the normal vibe of GTA 5, and Raised was less interested and more just wanted to make a more vibrant world. I'm not sure. So I don't know how much of it is just changes to what Rockstar did as opposed to making new things. But whatever the case is, the game does look beautiful. While I admit
how can someone just come along and make a mod that makes the game look better a few months after they re-release the remaster, but Rockstar can't do that?
I wouldn't say can't. It's more that I think they have different goals. A lot of graphics mods change the style of the game and make it vibrant in ways that is not necessarily appealing to everyone. In the same way that when they did even Rockstar themselves, kind of Rockstar, did the definitive edition of the earlier GTA titles, and it changed the vibe of the games by making them vibrant and stuff. This mod changes the way that GTA 5 looks in very significant ways. While Rockstar may have wanted to be more reserved in their enhanced version of the game, where they wanted to keep the vibe of GTA 5 while making it look better. And as well, Rockstar has to make something that can work on every possible system, even if you have a shitbox, basically, where this mod it has less considerations. And if you have issues with a mod, it's understandable in a way. But if you have issues with a release that you're paying money for from a big AAA studio, that's more of a problem. So you can be more accepting of errors and stuff when you're making something like this where Rockstar can't. People give more leniency to this dude than they will to Rockstar games.
That's fair.
Yeah. Okay, so that's an interesting question. When will pre-orders open for GTA 6?
Let's place a bet. What does the winner get?
Bragging rights, pride, accomplishment.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
I think 3 months prior to release.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be Christmas or something, way too early.
Really?
Yeah, I think
interesting.
I think it's going to be in 2026, 3 months before release.
Okay, do you think it's going to coincide with a specific announcement, a trailer, a specific trailer?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's going to be
Which trailer?
I'm not sure what trailer. Gameplay trailer, and then it would say at the end pre-orders available now, and there'll be links.
Damn, I think that was going to be my guess. All right, I think it'll go live with trailer 3.
When is trailer 3 coming out? You think?
Let me get the calendar up. Trailer 3 will come out on December 2nd.
Not Christmas?
No.
Why December 3? Why December 2nd?
Because that's the first Tuesday of December.
Rockstar like Tuesdays?
They released the GTA 6 trailer 1 on the first Tuesday of December. So let it be known that as of the 16th of June, my prediction for trailer 3 was December 2.
Okay, and what's 3 months before?
It'll be February 26th.
February 26th. There you go. That's my guess then. February 26th. A great day in the history. I don't know.
That would be a Thursday, Matt.
Okay, well that week then. Okay, give me a few days of leeway.
February 24?
Yeah, okay. February 24 then.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll come back to this when I'm right.
Of course. When have you ever been wrong? If you ignore all the times you've been wrong.
Exactly.
For the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, I bought myself a New Zealand copy because the game released at midnight for every country. So countries that hit midnight first got the game earlier. And so New Zealand gets the game like 2 hours before Australia. Yeah. And so I wanted to play it 2 hours earlier. Are you going to bother with these kind of shenanigans? Are you just going to get yourself an Australian copy? Or
I will bother if it's a thing, though. Games nowadays typically do a worldwide release, don't they? They do a global simultaneous release.
I don't follow, because this wasn't that long ago when Rockstar did it with Red Dead Redemption 2 back in 2019. I don't think anything's changed. Like, the advantages of rolling it out per country or whatever is that systems don't get overwhelmed, and as well, you get some warning if something is broken or not working, and that you can potentially fix things before it reaches the larger countries. And
but then again, with a game this big, it would run the potential for a lot of spoilers to get out there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but they weren't worried about Red Dead 2 and such spoilers. I don't know.
That was 7 years ago, though. Or almost 8 years ago.
I mean, I'm not sure what evidence.
I feel like most games, especially on Steam, like PlayStation might be a bit different, but with Steam, for example, it's a worldwide release now.
I'm pretty sure the PlayStation page for GTA 6 has a time at the bottom that is related to your time zone.
Interesting.
I think. If anyone in chat wants to confirm that, because I'm just booting it up now, but it's taking a million years to load.
For us, it comes out on, midnight, apparently. So,
there you go.
Get ready to wake up at midnight.
Joy.
Midnight release, baby.
That's what I heard. So, okay, so Ember did it with their region, they got midnight. Joshua did it with their region, got midnight. Okay, so it is midnight. It is staggered. Then I am going to get a New Zealand copy then. We solved it, chat. Presuming it's just not some placeholder and it's actually going to work out that way.
So yeah, if you want to play it, you got to move to New Zealand.
Yeah, move there specifically. I'll buy myself a house there just to get GTA 6 a couple of hours early. It's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just pretend to be Dark Viper NZ. They won't know the difference. So, questions from you guys. There's a handful here. Someone asked about the possibility of a third character that we control, even if temporarily, like we did with Chop in various missions in GTA 5. I know that some people talked about the potential for Raul to be a character that we play as at some point. I don't know what evidence there is for that, but I don't see why that couldn't happen. Honestly, I'd be surprised if that never happened at some point in the game. What about you?
Yeah, I think if I was a betting man, I would bet on us to be able to control some sort of third character for at least, a little bit. Yeah. Whether it's a prologue or an epilogue or just a side character like, Chop.
Especially as you talked about how there's, apparently according to a leak, there's 3 different slots for characters, and the third one is for both characters. But in some contexts, you wouldn't need that, and they could just put a different character in that slot, right?
I guess. Yeah, possibly.
Red Dead Redemption 2's 3-core system, health, stamina, Deadeye. Do you think that system will return for GTA 6? Just replacing Deadeye with this character's special abilities, whatever it ends up being. I would be surprised if it was exactly this way, but I mean, this is basically what GTA 5 had, where it was health, stamina, and your special ability.
But in terms of like the cores specifically, where you need to eat food to keep, your health regenerating at the same speed, or your stamina, whatnot, I'd be out.
Do you have
I don't know if that's
knowledge from leaks? Does the leaks give advice on this, or?
Well, we do know that there are going to be food items as well as healing items separately. But, again, the 2022 leaks, apparently Prone has been cut, right? So that was in the 2022 leaks. So how much of the 2022 leaks has been changed at this point? We don't even know.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say, I suppose. I mean, but I think GTA is a faster game than is Red Dead 2. I don't know if it's really suitable for a kind of world of GTA, but I guess we'll see. If the weapons in GTA 6 had their actual names on them, like AK-47, MP5, etc., like they did in GTA 4, would it improve the game for you, or would it not matter? I completely forgot that GTA 4 actually had more real-life weapon names. And would it matter for me? No, because I know nothing about guns. I'm not American. You make up some numbers on a gun, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That might be real, it might not be. I be surprised that you had a separate opinion?
At this point, Rockstar, it just seems like they do anything they can to not use real names for things, real brands for things nowadays. They just parody absolutely everything. So it wouldn't matter to me, but if I was going to bet, I would say they're probably not going to use the real names. But I don't, it wouldn't matter to me. No.
Do you think Rockstar will use ideas from FiveM servers for GT Online 2, since most PC players prefer FiveM to online? Is that the case? Do most people prefer FiveM to online? I don't think so, but I'd be surprised if they didn't take popular, successful ideas from FiveM and incorporate them into GT Online 2. Like, why wouldn't they?
I mean, they're already in GTA Online. Like this, we spoke about the DLC that's coming out tomorrow, where you own a car wash, where before you do the illegal work, you have to do a certain amount of legal work. That comes from RP. That stems from RP.
I swear there were updates that they did in the past where the commentary around them was specifically, oh, this is something from FiveM, or FiveM has had this for ages. I don't remember specifics, but I'm sure I recall those conversations happening.
Like the pizza delivery missions, maybe?
Yeah, that might be one example. It's being not too familiar with FiveM, I can't as easily identify such things, but I know that commentary has existed before. And why wouldn't they just take the best ideas that they get presented with, regardless of the source?
I think with GTA 6, the main thing they're probably going to take from FiveM is the increased focus on legal work, I think. I think with GTA 6 Online, there will be obviously your illegal stuff that you can do, but there will also be the ability to, quote-unquote, roleplay as whatever you want to roleplay as, right? Like, I think you'll be able to get quote-unquote real jobs in GTA 6 Online. I feel like that will be a bigger focus for sure.
Yeah, running some sort of just successful normal business or what have you. I'm actually watching, it's only slightly related, Peaky Blinders right now, and a lot of that is his obsession with having more legal work as well as his illegal stuff. Like the balance between the two. And it is weird to think that as criminals, we just have illegal stuff in online. It doesn't make much sense because most criminals in the world, like I remember watching Narcos, and they would talk about how they would use their money to fund real legitimate businesses that they would build up, like chemists and stuff. Will there be a Spotify version for the SixStar podcast? Right now, it is, as far as I'm aware, impossible to have a video version of this podcast on Spotify, and that's mainly what I would like to have. You need to have 12 episodes to submit it or some such. But when it came to my previous podcast efforts, I was always worried about separating the audiences and having it being less successful on one platform. What are your thoughts on this? I don't think I've ever asked you.
I don't really have any thoughts on it. You multi-purpose the content more than me. You would know more than me. Is it going to be beneficial?
Yeah,
How many people are asking for it? How many people are like asking for, hey, I'd prefer it on Spotify? But at the end of the day, they just end up watching it on YouTube anyway.
The reason why YouTube is less preferred is because if you want to listen to the audio version and you don't have YouTube Premium, or I'm sure there's TOS breaking ways of doing it, but generally speaking, you have to keep it up on your phone. You can't just minimize it and do something else or whatever. You can't turn off your screen. But Spotify, you can just listen to the audio or whatever.
Yeah.
But like Spotify, we'd be making like no money or whatever. I mean, the podcast is barely making any money at all. It just depends if we care more about having a greater reach. But then again, if people skip over it on YouTube and instead watching on Spotify, that could harm our reach on YouTube. Like, I don't know what's beneficial. There's a thing called Podbean, for example, that will disperse your podcast in all the podcast apps, which I guess would be just the audio rather than the audio video, which is what Spotify can do these days. But I guess this is just something I'll worry about, I think, when we have 12 episodes. If we make it to 12 episodes, I might be dead before then. I'm still sick right now. I'm dying. Like I'm fighting the phlegm. Will GTA 6 have a time skip like Red Dead Redemption 2?
As in, like, from the end of the game to the epilogue, or?
I mean, that was the only time skip in the game, Ryan.
I mean, this completely comes down to what the story would be, and we just have no idea at this point of what the story would be. I would say no. But, I mean, like, like, GTA 5 had a time skip, right? Where the prologue was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Are we classifying that as a time skip?
Of course.
Then, I don't know. This is You're just taking a complete guess, to be honest.
You
I
are,
don't know. It depends what they want to do with the story.
I think it's entirely possible. I mean, they seem to like doing time skips in a way, or like having a story start after some significant thing has occurred, in the way that Red Dead 2 did that. I mean, GT4 kind of did that as well. Like, the characters have a significant backstory of things that we get hinted at over the course of the story, and then in some cases we can be shown in the past and da da. But who knows? Outside of scripted events from the story, do you hope the game moves away from scripted events? Like, for example, no matter how good you drive in the mission shop, you can never catch D. I think scripted events are you just have to do them. Like, it's
there
impossible.
There are certain parts of the story that will require it, yeah.
How do you tell a story when your character can do literally anything?
Yeah. Scripted events don't really matter so much to me. What matters to me is if you notice that it's a heavily scripted event, right? Like with Mindseye, for example, I posted a clip on Twitter where it was so obvious that the entire mission was completely scripted. Like, all of these drones are scripted to completely miss you and then just blow up in thin air and basically blow themselves up. Like, it is so noticeable that it's scripted, right? Every game is going to have scripted moments. You can't stop that. Like I said, what matters is how immersive those scripted events are, and if your immersion breaks from realizing that it's a scripted event.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Like, I think at least my and potentially my audience's understanding of the harm of scripted events is in part hampered because we've played the game so many times. We've had the experience you have playing it the first time is very different from your experience playing it the 10th time. You can more easily identify when things are scripted when you've done them multiple times and you're intentionally trying to break the scene. I'm not inherently against scripted events. I would like more player freedom in GTA 6, as would seemingly most people. Considering GTA's rocky past with Australia, do you think GTA 6 will be censored and or banned from Australia? I don't think GTA 5 was ever fully banned in Australia. Like, there was just some talk, it was removed from the shelves in Target at one point or something. But, certainly we could always buy it from Steam.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens in Australia gets sensationalized and taken out of context. Yep. A lot of people think we're living in some, lockdown third world country.
Absolutely.
No, dude. Look.
So much of the stuff that people said abroad about what happened in Australia during COVID was just batshit fucking insane. No basis in reality at all. But part of the reason why I kept this comment in is that I think the landscape for gaming is far different in current year than it was in 2013 in terms of people's acceptance for violence in media and things like GTA. Like, it's almost inconceivable to me that a GTA would get banned or restricted these days compared to 2013.
I mean, they have a studio in Australia now.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah.
And we can play Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk has literal nude sex scenes. Yep. Dismemberment, gore, all of this stuff. Honestly, Cyberpunk, if ratings could go above 18 plus, for example, Cyberpunk would be a higher rated game than GTA 6 will be in terms of there are parts of that game that is literally just porn.
Yep.
And that's completely allowed here. So it'll be fine.
Is it possible some of the Trailer 2 fan theories actually were correct, but had to be scrapped by Rockstar when they knew of the delay? No, this is a weird question. Why did I put that in there?
No, that's 100% true. The moon theory was correct. Rockstar intentionally moved it because they didn't want me to be right. They didn't want any of us to be right.
I have heard of examples of people making TV shows and stuff and reading fan theories and going, "Oh shit, they got that right," and changing the story based on their knowledge that fans have guessed it. I just can't imagine Rockstar being the kind of people to do that.
Did you not hear about Trailer 1?
No.
Sam Houser apparently wanted to delay GTA 6 Trailer 1's announcement because Jason Schreier reported on it before Rockstar could announce it.
Where'd you get this information?
I don't remember.
How would we learn that? What do you mean?
That was common knowledge at the time.
All right, well, maybe.
Was it not? There were multiple reports about that at the time. Sam Houser reportedly wasn't happy that Jason Schreier leaked Rockstar's announcement about 12 hours before they announced it for Trailer 1.
I don't know. How much content do you expect to be available on day one of GTA 6 Online?
More than GTA 5 Online.
Because there were no heists for over a year, right?
Yeah, no, 2 years pretty much. Year and a half, close to 2 years. Look, I think they would have learned from their mistakes, for sure. I don't think it's going to be overly fleshed out. Honestly, I don't even know if we're going to have heists day one for GTA 6 Online, but I think what will happen is they will have a much more concrete plan in place with GTA 6 Online, and maybe even a roadmap for us to look at of how the game is going to evolve over time. It's not going to be this complete bare bones game where there's pretty much nothing to do besides rob stores like GTA 5 had for a year.
As we've said many times, it was very clear that they didn't expect the online to be as successful as it was. And now that they know how much money there is to be made in an online version of GTA, that there will be a lot more focus, a lot more planning the second time around.
Leslie Benzies was leading GTA Online when it came out in 2013. And that fella, he loves releasing plot.
I still think that the online is going to be delayed, that it won't be out on day one. But,
of course not. No, it'll be at least a month.
Yeah.
June, July 2026 would be a good time.
Okay. Speculate on how Lucia and Jason met. I guess this is just, again, us placing bets as to where they're going to go with the story. I want to say that they would meet in terms of setting some heist. They get brought on board, both on the same kind of heist crew, to pull a job. And Lucia gets caught as a part of the heist and goes to prison, but Jason doesn't. And so they know each other from the heist, and they keep in touch while Lucia's in prison.
I think they meet at a party.
Really? Is your guess?
You didn't listen to the Trailer 2 song?
No. What?
We happened to be at the same party. We left it up to chance. Those were the lyrics.
Okay, well, maybe that'd be a solid guess then. That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
This is not a crazy theory.
It's not a crazy theory, man. That's actually very good.
I mean, it was in the trailer, was it not?
Yeah, I mean...
We saw them at multiple parties in the trailer. Come on.
I believe that there has been talk of that the songs in previous trailers that they did, like for GTA 5 and stuff, were also meant to communicate aspects of the story. I never really cared about that stuff, but I know I've seen videos like that. I'm trying to dissect the song that's playing in the trailer as to what it possibly means. If it does mean something... I know
you weren't a big fan of Game Theory.
I was thinking of Game Theory, yeah. But
with Trailer 2 for GTA 5.
So for those who don't
know... Did you know Michael was in witness protection, Matt?
So for those who don't know, Game Theory, a long time ago, released a video where they tried to break down the songs from the trailers for the game, and they didn't really understand the story of GTA 5, and so did a very poor job at doing so. But when I explained the story and broke down the song, I was like, yeah, it does actually seem like the song is communicating things about the GTA 5 story, or at least we could see in hindsight, even if their analysis of it was terrible. Funny times.
I'm very scared that you're going to hurt me.
Why?
Actually, because I'm currently about an hour and a half. The video's about an hour and a half long. It's shaping up to be 3 or 4 hours long. It's a breakdown of GTA 5's story. So I'm actually quite terrified of releasing this. It will probably be done in about a month. And I'm very scared.
I'll happily watch it.
No, I'm actually very scared to release it. Because if I get one thing wrong, I'm getting exposed. Like, there is going to be a video breaking down everything I did wrong and how I'm dumb for not understanding GTA. This man has made GTA content for 7 years and he does not understand the story. I'm terrified.
Yeah,
I might get you to proof watch it.
Yeah, if you like. Or you can just release it and then I can make like a response video being like, this guy got this, and this wrong.
Do it, dude. No.
The story...
I'm going to try my best.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It'll be good. I'm sure you'll get there.
Oh, look at him. See, he's like, yeah, I'm going to expose this kid. You see that look in his eyes? Yeah. Like, yeah, no, man.
It'll be a 10-part series.
Release
TCG
it. Just
does
release
not understand GTA 5 story.
Yeah, you really want me to release it now? You seem a bit too excited about this video now,
content for
actually.
days, man. Give me content up to GTA 6. Nah, it'd be good, man. Do you think GTA 6 online trophies will be required to get the platinum? As many people hate having to get online trophies for a platinum. Because that's something for I haven't done the Platinum Award, which is the PlayStation thing, but I did do the achievements for GTA 5 on Steam, and they require you to do online content. And on one hand, I would like Rockstar to think of the players and not do that, or have separate awards and achievements and stuff for online and the single player. But at the same time, you kind of can force people to play the online, which Rockstar obviously has an incentive to do, to get you at least to get a taste of the online so you keep playing. So it ultimately depends on whether they want to be kind or they want to do the business savvy thing and try to inspire people to play the online.
Did Red Dead 2 require you to do it?
I don't know. Chat, help.
But even then, like, Rockstar released GTA Online as a standalone game long after, and Red Dead Online long after as standalone games. But I feel like GTA 6 Online would be a standalone game from the start.
I mean, people in chat, yes, they're saying with Red Dead 2, to get the platinum, you did need to do online stuff.
Interesting.
But as you say, like later on, they did separate the two games. Yeah, who knows? Do you think GTA 6 will have a more serious tone to its story than 5? It's clearly the case that the serious story of Red Dead 2 was more revered and talked about better than the GTA 5 story. GTA 5 story often being condemned by a lot of people as not being very good at all. It wouldn't surprise me if they took a more serious tone in GTA 6, attempting to capture that magic again of Red Dead 2. At the same time, though...
the website says Jason and Lucia find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America.
It does seem like a very dark setting with all the drugs and you seem homeless people and stuff. And it does seem serious. A mature story, you could say. And of course, Bonnie and Clyde being a bit of the inspiration for this. I mean, that's kind of a serious story.
Pretty dark.
Yeah, a dark story.
I would say.
Yeah, I think this is entirely plausible. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm saying like GTA 4 had a very dark story as well in terms of the themes that it tackled.
I mentioned this in like I mentioned that GTA 5 breakdown video that I got coming out, but I feel like a lot of people misunderstand the entire premise around GTA 5's story, actually. Because we've been to LA, we've been to Hollywood. Everything about GTA 5's story is meant to be a Hollywood blockbuster. Yeah. It's not meant to be taken as seriously. Like this game is Hollywood. You know, it's over the top. It's explosions. Yet nothing about this is meant to be taken seriously when compared to previous games in the franchise.
It's meant to point out the absurdity of all of this. To me, like it's how over the top and how fake everything is. It's
100%.
Yeah. Could you talk about how, even though the game development started a decade ago, which is not necessarily the case, but it's possibly the case, how it will be able to come up with satire and references that are still relevant to the current era? Asking this question, I'm playing GTA 5, and I'm like, stuff they're saying is still relevant even today. Even though times do change, and like the memes and stuff, what people are talking about change, but the general themes of like corruption and fakeness and people selling out and people manipulating others, or the relationship dramas and stuff, that's still relevant regardless of when you talk about it. But it's very hard to make things that don't become dated in some way. Like the thing I always reference is on Fame or Shame. There's a conversation between Trevor and Michael where they talk about kale being like a superfood that everyone's having in everything. And that was a thing around the time when GTA 5 was being developed. But right now, no one talks about kale anymore. I think any of the games that Rockstar has produced, if you play them, they're still very enjoyable and can still provide commentary on modern day, even if some small things become dated like that. And it just comes down to good writing,
I think a lot of it comes down to how on the nose a lot of the parody is within the game. Let me use an example, right? So GTA 5 with a lot of the parody that it does, it uses a very broad scope. But if we look, I'm going to mention it again, Mindseye, for example, where clearly one of the politicians in the game is meant to be a parody of Trump, and clearly the rich guy is meant to be a parody of Elon Musk and Tesla. That's very on the nose. Now, if you go back to that in 5 to 10 years, 20 years, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? I don't understand this. Because it's so, like, niche and this is a direct parody of this exact person and this exact company and this exact thing that is happening at this exact time. Where, like, with the Kale thing, for example, that's not a discussion anymore. But most of the parody within GTA 5 isn't that niche. So it's going to be timeless. And good comedy is timeless a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think... Well, I was trying to look up this word. Another thing is that Rockstar is very prescient in a lot of their commentary. In that, like, when you look at the commentary of Life Invader and stuff, and how social media has becoming such a overbearing force in the world of Los Santos, and how everyone's on it, talking about it all the time. Like, that's only just become more of a thing as time has gone on. Like, if you make commentary that's very specific to the time that you're in, but what you're talking about just becomes worse over time, it's still going to be relevant, right? Had we dropped all of social media in 2014, GTA 5 would have looked very dated. But it's just, if you're somewhat on the pulse of current trends and can predict what the future is going to be, it's easier to have commentary, parody that has relevance into the future. Like you said that 5-10 years that Elon Musk, the parody won't be relevant, but it's possible that Elon Musk could still be relevant in 5-10 years. Yeah. So in GTA 4, Nico was forced to work with the IAA. In GTA 5, Michael was forced into working with the FIB. Do you think GTA 6 will have us being strong-armed into helping the government? And if so, do you think it'll be either the two previous agencies, a new one, or just regular police?
It could be just regular police, but yes, absolutely. And we pretty much see this in the trailer already, where I'm pretty sure that we get Jason's arm visible in that scene with that clearly corrupt police officer. What do you think?
I think Rockstar is always going to include some aspect of government corruption, overreach, those with power abusing that power for their own ends. And it just seems as though this is the best way to kind of push that into the story. I do think that one of the characters, if not both, are going to be strong-armed into doing stuff for some government agency. There is no evidence thus far that it's the FIB or the IAA. And maybe Rockstar would want to create a brand new agency, considering that we have been experiencing those two agencies for the past 10 plus years. I would be surprised if it's the FIB or the IAA, personally. I think it will be something new.
Chat saying ICE.
Oh, dude, yeah, that would be perfect, actually.
That would be.
Yeah.
Even in San Andreas, though, like, you worked for the police. Like, this has been a thing at almost every single GTA game.
Yeah. And it's just something that's always relevant to talk about. Government corruption, abuse of power. That's just always been a present thing in all of human history.
And always will be.
People speculate that 70% of the buildings in GTA 6 will be enterable. Take-Two also had a patent for some sort of AI, interior generation. Do you think that this level of interaction with the world is possible? Do we have our expectations too high? What would you at least like to see as a percentage of enterable buildings? You're saying no, not going to happen? I agree. I don't think 70%.
Like, this is... It's something that I feel just a topic within the community that's getting so far out of control, where I'm thinking of making a standalone video on something like this.
Did you see on Twitter that people were saying that there's 700 stores that you can go into or something?
Yes, that was part of this leak from Gameroll, supposedly.
You didn't mention that. Did you find that not believable?
No, I didn't mention it today, but...
Why would you?
We don't even know what that means. Like, 700 stores, what do we even mean? Like, people's expectations, I think, as a whole for this game are so out of whack that people are forgetting that this is a video game. 70% of, like, do you know how many buildings are going to be on this map, man? 70% of them being enterable is just not...
I want everything that's in the game to be full of stuff and usable and have some purpose. I don't want 700 buildings with nothing in them.
Yes.
I don't know why anyone would want that. Like, you just walk into a building and get lost, and there's nothing in there.
Yeah. How are they going to make some like random dude's apartment that has no impact on the story interesting?
No, I don't know.
What is the purpose of going in that? There is none.
I mean, well, as Beast here says in chat, GTA role players would want that. It would be interesting if there was a role play server.
But
where
they already do that. They mod it and do that anyway. They add the interiors later. Rockstar doesn't need to do that for the base game.
No, for the base game, no. I think it would be some mode, possibly, where this is a thing. It would be interesting if, as a way to buy an apartment, you can effectively take over any building for your apartment, wherever you want. So the buildings aren't enterable until you purchase it and make it enterable. But I don't know why they go to that kind of effort.
Yeah.
Do the cutbacks on details seen on GTA 5 caused by the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era of consoles performance not worry you with GTA 6 with the PlayStation 5 and Series X consoles?
So I'm not worried with the PS5 and Series X, but I do have those concerns when it comes to the Series S. And I think that it's definitely held back a lot of the games on this generation by making a budget next-gen console. I understand the intention, and I think Xbox had good intentions for doing it, but I think that they also severely held back what games are capable of for this generation, and I just hope that it doesn't affect GTA 6.
For those who are unaware, to get a game onto the Xbox Series X, it had to have a version that was playable on the Xbox Series S version. And they have very different hardware, with the Xbox Series S being much more underpowered compared to the X version. I think they did make an exception or two with some games at some point, but they didn't make many. And yeah, I can understand how that would be a concern. But I mean, AI and all those upscaling DLSS techniques and stuff, getting something playable seems a lot easier now with those kind of techniques, right?
But still, like, I don't want any limitations at all. And if there's even a slight limitation, I know they can upscale it and whatnot, but if any part of the game needs to be held back for a Series S, like...
Yeah, I just think that it was seemingly, from the outside, it seems as though, like with grass, for example, in GTA 5, how legendarily, like if you put up a small bit of grass, that it would cause massive performance impact. And that's a large reason why a lot of the flora and well, just the grass scenery and stuff was removed in GTA 5. Like, I don't think that's a problem these days. I don't think grass, trees and stuff is as hard to put in games as it once was, right? So I don't think that kind of stuff, that kind of downsizing of the game is even on the table as relevant. I don't think. I think just the techniques around making games now are just way better than they were in the past. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a developer. You know.
Well, I mean, if the thing that gives me hope is how well Red Dead runs on a PS4. So for a PS5, because there's heaps of trees and stuff like that and grass in Red Dead 2, a lot more than GTA, honestly.
And PlayStation 5 is still a very powerful console. Like,
it is.
Even for how many years has it been since PlayStation 5 came out? Like a long time now. Right?
2020.
Yeah, it's even 5 years on, it's still quite powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all our topics, seemingly. And what a wild ride it has been for the last month. And we didn't even cover like the stuff that happened a month ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we still have so much to talk about.
I said, when trailer 2 came out, I said, now it begins.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to start picking up now. It's less than a year away officially. So it should be a really exciting year, man. Like, I think we'll see what happens over the next 5 months. But I think after that, like the 6 to 7 months in the run up to the game is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hope Rockstar has a lot of like cool marketing kind of gimmicks planned. Maybe better than 1 day of Discord Nitro.
2 days.
2 days. Oh man!
If you watch trailer 3,
you're talking crazy, TJ.
Yeah. Someone in chat asked, when are we going to Florida?
A couple of months apparently.
August. We will be there.
Yeah, hope I am well again when I go and I don't get sick. I'm going to be like injecting myself with every vitamin imaginable, just like fistfuls of zinc. I do not want to get sick.
Still taking those nuts? Do those nuts help you?
Yeah, I eat walnuts and Brazil nuts because apparently they're very
The
good for
Brazil
you.
nuts, yeah.
I eat like a small amount of them every day. I take like fish oil and I even take vitamin C now. Like I hate being sick. I've lost a whole week of my life to being sick after this travel, and I just hate it so much.
We'll get you in that Florida sun.
Yeah,
The sun will energize you.
I'll be honest with you. Going out in the sun and having to slather myself with sunscreen and stuff, and like even if I miss a small portion of my body and just having it be a red mark, I hate it.
You're too
so
white.
much. I'm just so white. It sucks. I need more melanin
Open
in
your
my
window.
skin.
Open your window.
I mean, it is open. Like
Let some sunlight in.
yeah, I got a good tan going to Italy and stuff.
Yes, I hope you're excited for the trip. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, you were planning. You're apparently going to like 57 different theme parks or something, right?
Oh, we're gonna spend a bit of time in Orlando before you get there, but we're going to Canada before actually for a week. So we're gonna have a good trip.
You're saying we,
And then
but
we'll
not
meet
me
guys-
and you. You and your missus.
me and Bella, and then we'll meet you guys down in Florida, and we'll do a road trip from Orlando down to the Keys, to Key West. So get excited. We're going to see all the Trailer 2 spots, Matt.
When Aitana heard we're going to the Keys, she's like, "Oh, that's a shithole, isn't it?"
It's lovely down there.
Oh, yeah, we've been.
I
To
want
the
that
We've been to the
chicken
Keys
sandwich.
before, and yeah, that what we ate down there was great. It's funny.
great.
I'm still getting the footage edited from our time.
Oh, Matt, you need to get it out, because
I know.
in 2 months, you're going to have more footage.
Yeah. I'm so bad at dealing with the in real life footage that I have, because there's just so much of it, and it's all out of sync and out of time, and it just, I don't know. It's so much different in terms of editing streamed like normal gaming content.
Yes.
What was also, not to get serious, the whole Israel-Iran thing going on right now. The person who was going to help me edit it is from Iran, and having to leave his home and stuff because apparently your missile may have hit like a couple of streets away from him or something. And that's
Isn't
also
that crazy.
Yeah, it's fucking unreal that these things can happen. Still current year kind of thing. It's just nuts, awful. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd end on that kind of sour note.
I think we'll be okay in Florida, though. In terms of just what's happening in the US at the moment, I think Florida's pretty clear of all of that.
I hope so. I mean, LA was going through, or is going through, a bit of stuff. Anything else we didn't cover? Anything else you want to mention before we head off?
They said we wouldn't make it to 6.
Oh, yeah. We've made it to 6 before Rockstar.
6 episodes.
Let's go.
When will the 7th come out?
Who knows?
2 months.
2 months? You got to leave them wanting even more?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
2 weeks. But we say 2 weeks, but sufficient stuff has to come out for us to talk about it.
Yeah, there are other podcasts out there that I feel like
Force it.
Force it a bit. So we'll see in 2 weeks. We'll see if we have enough stuff to talk about, but yeah, it depends. There's gonna need to be some more leaks.
Troyo here says 1 podcast per GTA. So we got to stop until GTA 7 now.
Yeah, there's only been 6 GTA games,
Yeah,
Matt.
exactly.
You didn't know?
That's true. That's actually true. Well, I'll do my best to live long enough to
Matt,
do
you're
another.
gonna live. All right.
We'll see. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for hanging out. I wish you all the best. As does TGG. Wish them the best, TGG.
I wish you all the best.
There you go.
Thank you for tuning in. See you
Bye-bye.
guys next year. Boop. Bye. Boop.